Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick, founder of Verbal 411, and today's tutorial is on goal setting and dopamine hits. So for those of you who are demotivated because there's just too much crap going on, or you're potentially burned out, I think that there's a way to start or trigger that dopamine hit. Dopamine is a hormone that you produce that I think is the basis for all the other hormones, norepinephrine, adrenaline. There's also a relationship between dopamine and serotonin as well, but if you have a pulse of dopamine released from the cells in the brain, the neurological cells, you will have this urge to move forward, to pursue, whether it's a job, a goal of losing weight, or a loved one, a future loved one. The excitement that you get when you see somebody, say when you're in high school and you want to really meet that person, the excitement is dopamine based. There's a little bit of an adrenaline, norepinephrine basis to that too, or a pulse. When you have an experience and the experience is positive, it'll give you a dopamine pulse. And then it's kind of cool, but when you have that event occur, like you had the courage to meet the person that you were pursuing, and it turned out to be a good encounter, the body will actually, almost like your car, to like a black box of car accidents, to go backwards and see what happened right before that impact. Well, the brain has multiple neurological connections that will foster the development of a pathway. And we don't have to get into the details of the pathway and how it's formed, but if you have a positive experience, like you pursued, you engaged, and you left with a really good feeling, your brain will say, remember that feeling. It'll remember the dopamine pulse because it rewarded you with something. Your brain will go back in time to memorize that connection of a neuron A to neuron B to this to give you the success of pursuit. You can have a little bit of the same thing by watching a video. Say, what are they called? They're called reels. When you watch a reel, the event is recorded by somebody else doing it. It could be stupid, it could be impactful, it could be devastating just to watch, especially fights. Guys especially, when you watch stuff, it jacks you up. It releases a kind of pseudo dopamine hit, but you don't have any neurological breadcrumb trail to follow to remember that hit. You just watched the video. It was cool, but you didn't work for that dopamine. You just turned on your phone. That will give you a reward, but it kind of leaves you hanging because your brain says, well, that was cool, but how did I get there? What am I supposed to do? What you're going to remember to do is get back on reels again, and that will be your pursuit, your success, and that will be the neurological pathway that you open to feel good. And that's not good, because it's a fake way of expressing that dopamine pulse. There are better ways to do it, and I know that it's easy to just take your phone and go swipe, 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 and get a little bit of a dopamine pulse, micro doses of dopamine, to get you to feel a little better than when you woke up, I guess, especially those of you who are fatigued. But my contention is that you can actually take, you might not want to do what I do as far as planning and giving yourself movement forward or a task. I have a big task. This is Mount Whitney over here that I'm training for, and I'm training a group of individuals, patients, warriors, to go with me. And the thing with Mount Whitney is it's the highest point on U.S. soil, at least the contiguous U.S., 14,000 feet, and it will be cool, but it'll be painful. And the coolness and the pain will work itself out if I just drown out the pain part and I build up. If I don't train for Mount Whitney, there's no way I'm going or anybody else is going. So we have that to train for. And you can see that the ink gets more cumbersome over here. But that's because I want to do micro bursts of success and goal setting. Hit one goal, take a dopamine hit, remember it. Hit another goal, take a dopamine hit, remember that, and move forward. So that's how you get from couch to summit. That's just with regards to me and how I try to move forward. I turned 60 last year, and unfortunately, when you hit a decade change, especially at 60, it's like, oh shoot, I have actually 16 years before the average American male has a catastrophe. If I think about it and don't take care of my health, I got 16 years left. If I start planning now then I might have 20 to 30 years left of independence and kick-ass adventures and playing with my great-great-grandkids. So that's way down the line, and it might seem like it's an arduous task. It's an Iliad and Odyssey. But I think that if you hold that summit, and just breaking it down into the analogy of getting to a hike and getting to a summit of 14,000 feet, if you just don't train and you start at base camp, which is 10,000, and you move to 14, the likelihood is you're not going to be able to do it. I'm wearing this hat because I signed up for the Shamrock Shuffle. I haven't run in since 2010. That's when I did my marathon, and I told myself I would never do a marathon again. Well, I throwing in a couple different changes in my training plan and for Mount Whitney, and I thought, let's do a Shamrock Shuffle. It's 8K, it's 5 miles. Why not? So I easily will tackle 5 miles when I hike with my groups with a backpack that weighs about 40 pounds, but running is different. However, not to get offline too much, that's another goal I set, is this is Mount Whitney, this is the Shamrock Shuffle. So it gave me, again, a daisy chain. And I've done videos on chunking down your goals just to make it tangible. I used to use small calendars like this big thing I got from my friend Monica, who has her own. And she showed me her goal setting and her daily accomplishments, and what you can actually do, even if you don't have a goal like Mount Whitney, you can take 1 month and you just break it down into, okay, I want to vacuum my room. So you put the vacuum here. If that's even difficult, then you just place the vacuum in your second floor, I guess. Maybe you can turn it on and do a little bit, and then you're exhausted, so take a break. But that's a win. Even that tiny win, that's a check off. You have a dopamine surge. And it's a sense of accomplishment. It's not like doing the whole house and rebuilding anything, but it's a sense of accomplishment. So it moves you forward. So that's where I say bring it a little at a time. Again, the objective is to move forward. The objective is to have a reward of some sort, both micro reward with the small steps of moving forward and big macro reward with something cool. I caution you on not overdoing it. You don't have to go for Mount Whitney. You can go with Mount Hoy, which is in Blackwell, down the street from me. But ultimately, you have to have some form of movement forward. And if you can't plan that because there's too much distraction, that's fair. Some people with emotional instability, with history of PTSD, with just no social support to help you figure things out, well, that's when you have to go to your doctor. And if your doctor can't figure it out, then you have to seek outside. But don't stay in your bubble with now if it's not serving you. Move out of the bubble. And yes, that takes a little bit of endurance, but do micro steps. Please always try to move forward. The more you invest in health, the better the outcome and the better the reward. Even if you have to be put on medicines at first, eventually you will be so healthy you'll be able to get off your medicines, unless you've waited and you have massive disease. But I think there's still options. So if you don't have options that are being given to you, or the only options are catastrophic options, you come see me. I'll put my link from my website down below. I see patients, whether they're in the US, whether they're in Illinois, or whether they're outside the US. I see patients everywhere, and I'm willing to help. That might be all you need, especially if the social support and your current plan is not serving you. You have the opportunity to overcome your hurdles, and you have miracles that are awaiting you. So thank you for watching up until this point in time. If you aren't a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. This is one of my dopamine hits. For those of you who don't have dopamine and you need it, then I think there's ways to get it. You can use medicines to get dopamine, and then you can use natural ways too. I just bought this thing, which I'll be doing an unboxing on soon. Shoot, it's frozen. So, wow, that is really frozen. So, this is my cold immersion. And the data on cold immersion, that's a lot of ice. The data on cold immersion is very positive, but I will tell you the truth, it hurts. And sometimes just the hurting part will prevent me from doing this, but I'm going to sit in this tank just for 30 seconds, try to get a little bit of a response, fat burning or whatever you want to call it. Here we go. This is cold. This is cold. Ooh. Oh. So I don't suggest this for everybody, but I'm going to try to sit here just for 30 seconds. And the objective is, and this is a pretty cool tank, 68 bucks. The objective is to build up, just like I talked about on my calendars, build up tolerance. I'll work my way to 30 seconds and then get out. Hopefully I'll get myself to 5 minutes, but at this point in time, that is cold. Rush of dopamine that gets released when you expose yourself to cold. And you have to do this a little at a time. I started with showers, and then I built up to longer showers, and I then built up to that dunk tank. So sense of what I'm doing to turn on dopamine, move forward, and be super healthy. So thank you for watching. See you at the next video.